Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 18th of October, now it's 15 past 9 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Little bit early update today because during the first half of the day, I have to go to Moscow for some personal business and I will not be able to be active on the comment section or on a Telegram channel as I usually are, and I apologize for that, but well, at least I will make some extra content for Patreon community, so it's all good. That's been said. Let's talk about news now, and I will start with short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports of Russian media and Russian Defense Ministry during previous 24 to 48 hours, Russian side significantly increased pressure on Ukrainian forces, increased its activity. We are talking about local scale activity, but still, as a result of it, according to Russian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian side lost up to 1,200 military personnel, which is almost a double of number that Russian Defense Ministry were reporting about Ukrainian casualties during the previous week. Yet again, increasing pressure from Russian side on Ukrainian forces, but at this point we don't really have reports that any breakthrough was achieved by Russian side on any of the sectors of the front line. It's usual stuff, artillery duels between the Russian and Ukrainian military, local scale reckoning force operations, and the drone wars. I remind you, dear friends, that and this goes for entire front from northern sectors up to southern ones. When it comes to southern sectors, by the way, we may see some significant changes in coming days because military summary, host of military summary, Dima, expects that Ukrainian side may conduct second wave of counteroffensive in Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sectors of the front line, and simultaneously Ukrainian forces may also conduct some amphibious operation, not just with crossing of Dnieper River, but maybe also with some amphibious operation in direction of Crimea or some capes here in Kherson region, which is theoretically quite possible. I'm a little bit skeptical that Ukrainian side will be able to pull off such large-scale offensive operations, but yet again, Dima has some good arguments, by the way, and well, only time will tell, but yesterday we learned about yet another indicator that Dima may be correct and the Kyiv regime will at least try to pull off some large-scale offensive operations on the southern sectors of the front line. And of course, I'm talking about Ukrainian strike on Berdyansk direction towards airfield, military airfield that Russian side is using with ATACMS missiles, by the way. And this is first confirmed report about ATACMS was used against Russia. I did share on my Telegram video of that consequences of that strike, and you can clearly hear in that video some secondary explosions. You can clearly see some helicopters on the field. So I guess munition depots were destroyed during this Ukrainian strike, and some helicopters probably also destroyed or significantly damaged. Serious setback for Russia, for Russian side, and of course Kyiv regime will use this strike as a propaganda tool to show their Western masters that they are still capable of doing something. And because this strike took place in Berdyansk direction to neutralize Russian helicopters, including attack helicopters, by the way, that can be seen as an additional indicator that Kyiv regime is definitely planning to conduct second wave of counteroffensive in the southern sectors of the front line. Only time will tell. I'm a little skeptical that Kyiv regime will be able to pull off this scale of operation, but anything is possible. Let's see. Question is also rising how Moscow will respond on this new step or new level of escalation from Western so-called elites with deliveries of these long-range weapons, ATACMS, and if ATACMS are in Ukraine, as I predicted several times before, because that's what usually happens, isn't it? They are delivering weapons and only after that making announcement about it, these so-called Western elites. And if ATACMS are in Ukraine and they are, I guess Germany also did deliver long-range cruise missiles, Taurus long-range cruise missiles to Kiev regime, and in coming days we will probably learn about first time use of those cruise missiles also. One can only hope that Russian air defense systems will quickly adapt to this new development and be able to shut down majority of those extremely capable and dangerous missiles. But when it comes to Russian response, how Moscow will react, I don't know, man. At this point, after so many steps from Western so-called elites towards escalation with Russia, and Moscow's kind of soft approach, I don't even have predictions at this point. I don't know. Maybe Moscow will not even react anyway, in any way or shape or form on this ATACMS attack or this new level of escalation. It would not surprise me at all. Or maybe the Russian side, maybe Putin will order to conduct some missile strikes, yet another one, on some directions, but not against decision-making centers, true decision-making centers in Ukraine, in Kiev and Lvov, because for whatever reasons, those decision-making centers are untouchable, at least for now. That was the case, isn't it? And that's why I find it difficult to even predict how Moscow will react. I just don't know. But question is definitely circulating in Russian segment of internet, and many people that are informed about this development are very angry and are demanding retaliation. But well, at least for now, Moscow was quite, or Putin and his government was quite reluctant to take action against leadership of this terrorist and Nazi state that Ukraine is at this point, and against this terrorist and Nazi regime in Kiev. So I don't think anything will change in Putin's approach, but who knows? Let's see. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian air defense systems shut down 28 Ukrainian drones during the previous night. Well, quite a number, really, and as I said many times before, Kiev regime will use any means in their inventory to strike deep inside Russian territory and kill as many Russians as possible, as they possibly can, and they are trying it on daily basis. Just imagine number of casualties if these 28 drones did pass through Russian air defense systems. And unfortunately, Kiev regime has more and more powerful weapons in their hands. Now it's ATACMS. I guess Taurus long-range missiles also have been delivered to Kiev regime. And with those missiles, by the way, Zelensky and his terrorist and Nazi associates can strike even Moscow, theoretically at least. Range is enough to strike towards Moscow. So is it a threat? Of course it is. And yet again, one may only hope that Russian air defense systems will adapt quickly to this new reality on this theater of operation. But anyway, let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that White House confirmed that they did deliver ATACMS missiles to Kiev regime. Official representative of White House, Adrian Watson, did made a statement that ATACMS have been delivered to Kiev regime, and the range of those missiles are 160-165 kilometers. Well, formally ATACMS can, as I understand, ATACMS can have a range up to 300 kilometers, if not more, and maybe White House is stating that the range of this missile is only 165 kilometers to somehow downgrade level of escalation with Moscow, or maybe this is some media operation to, disinform Russian militaries, that they will think, this is only 160 kilometers, so they cannot target some areas out of this range. But yet again, I would not take any word from White House with trust or seriously. And RIA Novosti is also, by the way, reporting about range of these missiles, if it really matters. It's 160, 200 or 300. Formally, these missiles have a 300 kilometer range, and that's the point that everyone should take in account. You cannot trust Biden's administration. You just cannot. Because I don't understand why Russian media is falling for this trap, and they are now kind of trying to downgrade significance of this new escalation. That it's it's only 160 kilometers, like it does makes this escalation less harmless or less dangerous. But yet again, I would not take this information from White House seriously. And I would not believe anybody who will say that it's not big deal, it's only 160 kilometers. These missiles can fly 300 kilometers, if not more. And I'm quite sure Russian side will make great mistake, huge mistake, if they will not take in account a real range of those missiles, potential range of those missiles. But anyway, let's continue. TASS News, and I can understand this approach of Russian media, that they are trying to kind of downgrade this situation with the ATACMS, because Russian media is also confused, because they don't know how Moscow will react, and if Moscow will react at all. They just don't know what to do at this point, and especially state-run media, by the way, and RIA Novosti and TASS News Agency, they are state-run. They just don't know what to say, and they are downgrading this development or that missile and dangers that those missiles are posing. And by this, these Russian media outlets are falling into the trap that was laid out by Washington. But anyway, let's continue. TASS News Agencies. And next topic, by the way, is of course Israel and this Israeli-Palestinian confrontation. Serious developments, very serious developments. Yesterday afternoon, all of you probably are already informed that Israeli side conducted strikes on hospital in Gaza Strip, and as a result of this strike, according to information that TASS News Agency has, more than 800 civilians died, and hundreds and hundreds more are wounded. Horrifying development, war crime, pure war crime on part of Israeli government and IDF. What they were thinking while striking hospital, I have no idea, by the way, but they did it. And after this information become known, riots ignite in the many regional countries, by the way, and not just in regional countries. People were extremely angry all around the world. especially in regional countries, by the way, on Middle East, and so much so that, for example, Jordan made decision to no longer host a meeting with Biden with participation of leaders of some other regional nations, including Egypt. And in Jordan also demonstration, the demonstrators are taking to the streets, and I did saw some videos that they were even trying to enter embassy, Israeli embassy, or it was US embassy, not Israeli but US embassy. People are very angry, understandably, by the way, understandably, and this meeting that's supposed to be conducted today, by the way, in Jordan, with participation of Biden and other regional leaders, let's say, this meeting was called off. And Netanyahu and some other officials of Israel did come out yesterday and said that this attack was conducted by Islamic Jihad organization, or Palestinian organizations themselves did strike this hospital, because not by intention, but according to Israeli official position, Israeli groups launched some missiles towards Israel, those Palestinian groups, and some missiles just fell on that hospital, which is, I mean, it does not make any sense, by the way, these type of statements from Netanyahu or any other Israeli official, because we all see results and consequences of Palestinian missiles attacks. Those missiles barely are able to pull a hole in the wall. Those missiles barely are able to put a hole in the wall. And Netanyahu is now saying that those one or two these Palestinian missiles destroy entire medical institution and killed hundreds and hundreds of civilians and wounded even more. It's just not possible, by the way. No one believes in this. Even Western media, even Western so-called media, by the way, is forced to question this statement from Netanyahu and his associates, because it truly does not make any sense whatsoever. But when it comes to this action itself, this strike, and by the way, I did saw some videos of moment of when that hospital was struck, and if you compare sound of that weapon that hit hospital, it definitely sounds like JDAM bomb. Definitely sounds like JDAM. It has specific sound, that bomb, and you can see videos when JDAMs was used in other areas, like in Afghanistan, for example, and sound are too similar. It's the same weapon, and probably that hospital was struck by JDAM bomb. And also, by the way, according to some media outlets, after this hospital was struck, and after entire world learned that there was a huge number of casualties, Israel conducted secondary strike on very same area. I mean, you tell me what is that, if not pure war crime and crime against humanity? I don't know, man. Netanyahu is a war criminal and has to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. RIA Novosti is reporting that Jordan, and by the way, also interesting news that Hamas, according to RIA Novosti, Hamas made a statement that they are willing to free all the hostages if Israel will stop shelling Gaza Strip. If Israel will stop escalating, Hamas will release all the hostages. And when it comes to hostages, number is very different. Some reports say about 150 people. Some reports say 250 people. So no real understanding of how many hostages Palestinian armed groups have or taken from Israel. And RIA Novosti is also reporting that Jordan and Egypt refused to open their borders for refugees from Palestine, from Gaza Strip. And if they will stand to this decision, if they will not open their borders, then Netanyahu may force Palestinians from Gaza to flee to West Bank. That may happen because, in my understanding, plan of Netanyahu and his government initially was to implement Karabakh scenario on the Gaza Strip, which means to force all civilians from that area out of region, one way or another. And I didn't see any indicator that Netanyahu and his government have change of mind. They are conducting themselves and conducting operation exactly in that manner. But they won't force all Palestinians out of Gaza Strip. Let's continue. A few more news, by the way, and that's it. RT is reporting that Russia makes nuclear test promise. Russia is moving closer to withdrawing its commitments not to conduct nuclear tests, but has not intention of doing this unless the US forces its hand. A senior diplomat has said Russia ratified the 1996 Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty in 2000 and has now waited 23 years for the US to do the same. The deputy head of the non-proliferation department of the Russian Foreign Ministry, Konstantin Vorontsov, told the UN committee meeting on Monday. Well, we all see these satellite images of Novaya Zemlya island in Barents Sea, if I'm not mistaken, which is here, by the way, north of Russia. And that island, that's it, isn't it? This is Novaya Zemlya. And during the Soviet era, this island was one of two nuclear test sites. Other one was in Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken. Semipalatinsk was the name of that area where nuclear tests were conducted, if I remember correctly. And well, recently some images emerged on internet that some building work, some construction work is taking place on Novaya Zemlya, and it well may be that Russia is planning to conduct some nuclear tests for some new type of nuclear weapons that will be used in hypersonic Russian delivery systems. It's a possibility, although officially Moscow is stating that if Russia is not forced to conduct nuclear tests again and working this area, then Moscow will not do it. But anything can be interpreted as Moscow was forced, isn't it? Any step from Washington can be seen by Moscow as a red line after which they will feel free to conduct nuclear tests. And by the way, at this point, relationships between Russia and the Western states are in such bad conditions that I don't think it does make any sense for Russia to stay in any treaty with the Western states whatsoever. So when it comes to nuclear tests itself, well, probably Russian side will conduct one sometime in the future. maybe they think it's necessary for Russia's defense. They need new type of nuclear warheads for new type of delivery system, hypersonic delivery systems, and well, they will do, I guess, whatever is necessary to make sure that Russian nuclear triad is well functioned and continues to serve as a major deterrence force. But anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that Putin comments on planned new mega gas pipeline. President of Russia is in China and participating in this conference, One Belt, One Road initiative of China. And well, during his visit, he did had meetings with many world leaders, including Chinese leader. And during the talks with Chinese leader, he mentioned the Power of Siberia pipeline, Power of Siberia 2 pipeline. Already exists one pipeline, Power of Siberia, and second pipeline will be built, as I understand, and Russia will increase its gas deliveries to China with this second pipeline by 50. Let me see number to be sure. 50 billion cubic meters. Yes, that's quite a number. And when it comes to already existed pipeline, Power Siberia, for 2025, Russia is planning to increase export of Russian gas through that first pipeline up to 38 billion cubic meters. China is already major buyer of Russian energy and Russian commodities, and this will only increase. This trade between the sides will only increase, especially with current developments on Middle East, when any day really regional war may erupt with destruction of navigation in Persian Gulf, which will of course play huge role worldwide, which, you know, it will be global disaster for world's economy and the world itself. Not just a war in the region, but consequences of that war may devastate entire planet. And this is it, by the way. This is it for now. Quite short update. That's good, you know, for change. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you like or find interesting. More likes and comments supposed to help me to deal with this extremely aggressive YouTube algorithm and, you know, reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are active on. And if you think this channel, this project is interesting, useful, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, on which I do upload some extra content on regular basis. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.